This guy's from Inner Mongolia.
My mother used to do the milking from the cow.
He studied in China and France and now lives in Singapore.
I work for a mining company.
He managed to work on his day job and live out his passion at night.
I'm interested in telling story through camera.
His name is Mandula and he told me about his life in Singapore as a creative person. I'm Chernov. Enjoy! How was life in Inner Mongolia? You remember it?
When I was a kid in Inner Mongolia, I had no idea what art was. I had no idea what movie was, pop music or rock music was. In Inner Mongolia, the two different lifestyles. One is traditional Mongolian lifestyle, riding horses, and then at the age of 18, I got into university, and then it was the first time I moved to a big city.
How did you feel?
I was really anxious. I was really nervous. I'd never been to a big city before. I never been on a public bus before. I was afraid like I would get lost. Back then, like my parents were like, my family was quite poor, and then my parents couldn't be able to send me to the university, and then I was alone. I took this train like for. Back then the train was super slow, like 35 hours, and and it was not even a bed. I sat on this very hard seat for like 35 hours. That was the first impression of big city, and it was also like first time I was seeing like people kissing in the public and hugging in public. In my hometown, it was super traditional. People look at these kind of people like, oh, like this is what are they doing?
I know that you have two professions: the one that brings you money and the one which is your passion.
I should say it's hobby. I'm interested in telling story through camera, through my lens. Stories of any subject that I'm interested in, especially those people that are being ignored by the main media. I like taking photos, making films, and then traveling and interested in different cultures.
What kind of movies you do?
So far, I have directed only one movie. The movie is about cultural differences.
You were in one of these film festivals that you were in Canada.
Yes, the movie that I made, it was shortlisted at the Rhode Island Film Festival. It's a semi-finalist, not the finalist, but yeah, I'm happy about it with the result. Actually, this movie was based on a real story. One day I was actually reading BBC News, and then I saw this news about this Chinese guy. This guy is a villager, and this guy went to New Zealand to see his own son. But this villager guy one day went to this swimming pool, and then this public shower place, and then he saw this white New Zealand toddler, and then he started playing with this kid, and then he touched the toddler's penis, and then the toddler's father saw that and then sued this guy to the court. I thought this story is very, very interesting. I thought like, well, maybe I can make a movie out of it. So I developed my script based on this story.
And the important part that the guy didn't mean anything bad. By the way, the movie is called Penis. It's super cool. Link down below. If you want to watch it, please do. Basically, you put your own money to to shoot to do movies.
Yes.
The length of the movie is 20 minutes. So can you share how much you put it? Like how much money?
Roughly, I think like 13,000 to 15,000 Singapore dollars.
Wow, man. That's a lot of money.
Initially, my budget was around like 5,000, but then at the end, it's actually like 3 times more.
Did you make any money out of it? And the second question, what's the business model of these kind of movies?
My initial objective was not to make money, but to make a movie. I did not put any efforts to make money. But of course, there could be some ideas or ways to monetize. For example, you screen it at a cinema, and then you invite your friends, and then you sell some tickets, but of course it's not even near to monetize or to make money compared to what you pay for. Another way would be like you can actually sell it online, maybe like Vimeo, on your own website. Right now the channels, the ways you can make money, monetize, not that difficult as before, because you can actually sell it by yourself online. The biggest potential would be you sell it to Amazon, you sell it to those streaming platforms, Netflix or Mubi, for example. Mubi is exclusively for art house movies. So in that case, you can actually sell it at the lump sum money, and then you can work on your next movie. To achieve that result, my guess would be you have to get an award, like big award, like for example at Cannes Film Festival, and then you would get this big name to promote your project, and then those big companies would be interested in talking to you. Otherwise, probably no.
Guys, sometimes it's time to support your favorite YouTuber, and this is the right moment to subscribe to this channel and like this video. Thank you. Can you compare the cost of living Singapore versus Paris?
It depends on which area. Like food, for example, in Singapore, you could be able to find really good food, like Asian food, cheaper than Paris. But in terms of rental, oh man, the rental has skyrocketed in the past, in 2022. The rental is probably 50% higher than Paris. Transport is much cheaper and also on time, never get delayed or cancelled.
What's the three things you don't really like about Singapore or you miss from other countries?
There's one thing that I really miss about France is about the exhibitions or museums, which is actually missing in Singapore. Not too many international exhibitions here, not too many great museums here. Of course, I've been to museums here as well, but the collections are not as diverse as like in Europe. And another thing is art house cinemas. Art house cinemas, there are art house movies here, but again, in terms of the titles, not as many as you can be able to watch in France, for example.
Three best things for you in Singapore?
First of all, it's extremely safe.
Is it important for you?
Maybe not for me, but definitely for my wife. If you go out, stay late at night and then you go home alone and then you don't have to worry about being mugged or something. And another thing is this place is extremely diversified, international. I have the opportunity to meet a lot of different people from different countries with different backgrounds, with different cultural backgrounds, like you, for example. I really like this. I met a lot of great friends here. Another thing is this country is also extremely efficient. I have had my tough time in France, for example. If I lose my bank card, it takes 2 weeks to get another card. But here, it takes only maybe 5 minutes. You go to the ATM machine and then they make it for you. Yeah? Again, this is very international. You can go to another different country super easily. Every flight is international flight.
That idea came to my mind recently. Oh, there are no domestic flights in Singapore.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
How's your ideal day look like in Singapore? Your ideal day off?
I would probably do a little bit of exercise and then carry my camera and then walk around and just to explore the area which I have never been to. Not those popular, touristic areas, but just a neighborhood which I have never been to. So yeah, that would be my ideal day. Yeah.
What inspires you? What districts, what areas?
To me, the most interesting neighborhood is Little India. It looks very authentic. A lot of authentic Indian cultures there, preserved there. A lot of nice, Indian restaurants, and then the neighborhood walk around and the people's, daily life. It's really interesting to document.
If you want to feel creative side of Singapore, where you go?
First of all, you can go to a projector. You can feel very good vibes there. The decorations, the architecture itself as well. Now we're at Somerset. To be precisely, it's Orchard Gateway. And on the 3rd level, there's a very good library which I come quite often because in the library there are a lot of interesting books like magazines, books about photography, magazines about photography, filmmaking, art and stuff. So yeah, this is one of the most interesting places as well. Yes. You can also go to Geylang. The neighborhood is actually very interesting. It's people call it the red light district, but I personally find it is a quite artistic place in the way that it preserves a lot of traditional Singaporean culture. Another neighborhood I would highly recommend is Katong. Katong is in east coast side of Singapore. Not not many skyscrapers, but a lot of landed houses with a lot of nice cafe, restaurants, boutique stores. You can walk around. Yeah.
What would be the not very obvious thing everyone should see in Singapore?
There are like nice areas like Tanjung Pagar where the architectures are very interesting, very old architectures. A lot of nicely designed restaurants and bars. Also some bookstores as well. You can walk around. Just recently I did a project on plants and trees in Singapore. Singapore has a lot of weird looking, surreal looking trees and plants. I'm personally very interested. If you're a tourist or visitor to Singapore, you can actually walk to, let's say, Gardens by the Bay or Botanic Garden and walk around. It's really, really interesting. Yeah.
Would you recommend any like some particular movie that's like art
yes.
house movie
Yes.
that you need to watch?
So just lately, like I don't know, a month ago, I watched a movie which was actually Cannes Palme d'Or winner of 2022, which is called The Triangle of Sadness.
Ah, I heard about it.
Very, very good. Yes, highly recommended.